Hi all, I'm doing the secretary talk for the state of X.Org or the union or whatever, because unfortunately Lute couldn't make it because of some last second emergency with a cat. And so Eric and me did the slides, or well, Eric did the slides and I did the talking. So first, huge thanks to Igalia and everyone for organizing a great XDC. Bit more like enthusiasm, please. Yeah, great work. Especially because we kind of didn't have an XDC last year and they jumped in to fill the gap. It took us a bit a challenge to restart things after Corona. We had, well, this is short. We had 12 sponsors today. For this XDC, and we had one travel grant. I guess people don't quite like traveling so much, or maybe there's more corporate travel budget. But I mean, the money is available, so for next year, just submit a talk, and you can sneak in a travel grant with that. Thanks a lot to Arek for handling all the invoicing there and stepping up as treasurer. We had a pretty full-packed program this year with like 12 full-length tags, 18 half-length tags, 2 workshops, and a massive pile of lightning talks. So big thanks for everyone who submitted something, because that's what makes XDC happen. And maybe as a reminder, we have like this workshop track, and this year we only got 2. It's available. It's great for having discussions, a bit more in there, hackfests, whatever else you want to do. For next year, the request for proposals for XDC is still open. We're kind of still looking. We have something-ish probably in North America. But also, like, XDC is a fairly big conference, so it takes a lot of work to organize. And we would like to be back in Europe in 2 years, so anyone who's like interested in hosting it, please reach out. We try to also contact possible volunteers so that we can have a nice XDC in 25 too. And also, like, we're also looking for sponsors. We have a nice sponsorship level, so I'll probably start annoying companies again later this year. For infrastructure, we're still struggling with costs. It's for those who've seen like the board meeting, our GitLab infrastructure is expensive because it's been ridiculously successful, and just the server costs that are sponsored in like terms of service without going over books, it's $250,000 a year. And unfortunately, because we don't really have that much money, we rely hugely on volunteer effort, heroic volunteer efforts by our admins to cut down on costs. We had like almost 30,000 in Google Cloud Engine last year, and this was a bit too much for our budget, so it was migrated, which unfortunately caused an outage, but that cost should be now down to 0. There's also other migrations going on to enable IPv6 and move to a bit cheaper data center, because even if it's not on our books, like the servers are very expensive, and we need to make sure that the companies that are sponsoring us are happy with the deal. So Equinox also has a huge shout out here. But really, like, the biggest shout out is to our volunteer admin teams. We're trying to fix this, and especially Benjamin Tissois. So I think that's also a huge applause for. Because yeah, like, we have a bit of money thanks to XDC, but it's not gonna be enough to pay for the infrastructure if you would not have so many sponsors and volunteers. Next up is code of conduct, transparency reports. We got 7 reports over, like, I think mostly GitLab, but there's also the conduct at address, I think it is. And one of them resulted in a removal of a user. So a bit more, I think, than last year, but still fairly little. X.Org, second time in a row this time. We had a bit of struggle over the pandemic. 5 students, everyone passed. Yay, someone presented here. Huge thanks to our mentors and Trevor Werner and Christopher Michael for coordinating the entire thing. It's always quite a bit of work. On internships, the not so good news is that unfortunately our EVOC program, the kind of stopgap, what we can cover with X.Org or Outreach, is on hold because SPI wants to do this properly with an employment contract, and that employment contract is unfortunately not yet ready. This also meant that one potential internship fell through the cracks, and like huge thanks from all the people in private on the board to mentors for trying to catch the fallout a little bit. On that is kind of a nice segue into our parent organization. Thanks everyone for voting this year. So we managed to buy a hair past the bylaw changes to move to Software Freedom Conservancy. The transition is in progress. Like Software Freedom Conservancy is a lot more serious about doing things properly. So we're crawling through all the contracts that we have and everything else we have and make sure that the workflows and processes work and we can do everything we want to do with them. Our fingers crossed that with next year's XDC we can do all the financials over conservancies. And that kind of brings us to the foundation. If you're not a member yet, please sign up at members.x.org. Like anyone in here cares enough about what we all do to definitely be qualified to sign up. And what you get is you can vote on stuff, make sure we can do changes like join conservancies. Bragging rights, there's access to certain specifications that we can only share kind of privately, and probably the most important thing is submit Kronos conformance results for all the drivers that are developed by the community. And finally, we're always trying to make XDC better and relevant for the community and the people attending. So if you have feedback, if you want to say something done differently, please send us or talk to the organizers or anyone from the board here at board@foundation.x.org. We've also been talking a bit yesterday about what we should change maybe. So one idea that's been floating around is that we reduce the formal talks part of the program a bit and try to make the hallway track a bit bigger with maybe a hack fest or perhaps just promoting the workshop track a bit more. So if you have ideas, if you've seen things that are really good that we absolutely need to keep, or things we need to improve, please give us that information so we can make the conference better. And that's it. So if you have any questions, otherwise it's, I think, coffee break. This one.
So when we did all of the stuff with Kronos before, we did that through SPI. So do we have a plan to get Software Conservancy into the Kronos membership position and we sign all the same paperwork, whatever that was?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the list of paperwork things that we need to make sure is all checked and crossed and I's dotted. And it's definitely, I would say, the most important contract that we need to carry over. But yeah, that's one of the things. Otherwise, I guess, coffee break. Thanks a lot.